Greetings, my name is Siobhan Hancock with the New Mexico Department of Health Obesity, Nutrition, and Physical Activity Program. Healthy indigenous cooking is part of a statewide effort to reduce obesity, diabetes, and other chronic diseases in Indian country using traditional Native American recipes. New Mexico is home to 23 distinct tribes, pueblos, and nations, each with its own culturally different foodway. This webinar series focuses on healthy meal preparation of Southwest Native American recipes using indigenous ingredients available in New Mexico. You may substitute some items with local produce or spices from your area. The recipe and other cooking sessions are available online. See the resource slide at the end of this presentation for more information. Healthy Indigenous Cooking is sponsored by New Mexico Department of Health. This program is partly funded by Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program for Education, SNAP-Ed, and the CDC. Let me introduce you to our chefs. Lois Ellen Frank, PhD, is the chef-owner of Red Mesa Cuisine, a Santa Fe, New Mexico-based catering company that specializes in indigenous Native American cuisine and cultural education with a modern twist. Lois cooks alongside Native American chef Walter Whitewater, who works with Chef Frank in Santa Fe, New Mexico. He was one of the first Native American chefs to cook at the James Beard House in New York City. For more information about our chefs, please watch the Session 1 video or go to their website at redmesacuisine.com. Session 6. Growing microgreens and sprouts for a basic green salad. Also, arugula, berry, and pecan salad, apple, raisin, and pine nut salad, and tricolor coleslaw. Let's get started with Chef Lois Ellen Frank and Chef Walter Whitewater.
Hi everyone, I'm going to start this session today by talking about sprouts and microgreens. And sprouts are really, really easy to grow. What we have here today are some varieties of microgreens. So there's two different things. One is growing sprouts in a jar, and here you can see I've grown sprouts, and these are bean sprouts. And bean sprouts, I'm going to pull these out. I'm using today a mung bean, and these little sprouts will grow little tops, and we can use these in a soup or a stew. Takes about a week, and they're very easy to do. The way that you grow sprouts is you can take any kind of seed. It could be alfalfa, it could be radish, it could be amaranth, any kind of seed, and you put enough seeds to cover the bottom of a wide-mouthed jar. That should do it right about there. Once you have the seeds, you're going to take a tiny bit of cheesecloth. Cheesecloth is very inexpensive, and you're going to cut a little square so that it fits over the top of the jar. And my students do this at IAI, and this is a really wonderful way to grow sprouts, but also to learn about the seed and how seeds are life. Seeds are very important to us Native people, and we want to keep those alive. So you're going to take, I've taken this jar, and I've taken the center piece out, and you're going to put cheesecloth over the top, and then you're going to put water in. I let my seeds soak overnight, and you're going to water your sprout seeds twice a day for 7 to 9 days, and you're going to end up with a jar of beautiful green sprouts. You could also plant these in your garden, and perfect, easy way to grow sprouts. But if you can't grow sprouts, you could also do a form of what we call growing microgreens. And all you need is a tiny little plant container, a little bit of soil, and your seeds. This particular sprout is amaranth. And amaranth is one of my favorite native microgreens to use. It has a beautiful red color. Once your microgreens have grown, you just go in with scissors, cutting those microgreens, And we're going to go ahead and put these in our salad today. These are my favorite. Look at that beautiful, beautiful color. But let's take a look at some other microgreens. This is another way. This is a to-go soup cup, a little bit of soil in the bottom, and this is pea shoots. So you could do lentil, you could do pea, and the same thing. We would just take our scissors, cut what we need, and then we would cut those, and these are going to go into our basic salad. The reason that I want you to consider growing the sprouts or the microgreens is because they are so healthy for you. It's called a living food. Here we have sunflower, and again, these were just cut. So for instance, with the sunflower, I'm going to cut off the part that touched the soil, and these are going to go into our salad. We also have radish. Radish is a little bit spicy. These are some of my favorite. And again, just cut the bottom off, and you're ready to go with these sprouts. So these are delicious. They're nutritious, chock full of vitamins. So here what we have growing is we have a little bit of arugula. This is going to be very nice. This is an arugula microgreen. We have a dark or purple radish. We have a light radish. We have pea sprouts. And then I went to the farmer's market. So some of you that live near a farmer's market or have a farmer's market in your pueblo or your community, you might be able to go to your farmer's market and buy a container of sprouts. So the sprouts just come in this container, and let's take a look here. The microgreens or sprouts that we have today, we have broccoli. Oh, think about all the nutrients there. We have cilantro. That's going to add some delicious flavor. And then we also have cabbage. So lots of microgreens, lots of sprouts. All of these can go into your basic salad, adding flavor and nutrients, and just a really important part. So we'll go ahead and use all of these that I've cut today, and obviously you can add a lot more. So for the basic salad, we're going to be using baby lettuces. Lettuces have different colors, and the darker the leaf, I like to try and use a red leaf. You could use a green leaf. You can use a curly leaf. You could use romaine. You could use iceberg, but if you're going to use iceberg, I would try and add more of the sprouts to increase the value of those. So here we have lots of different kinds of baby lettuces, and this is what we're going to be using today. But whenever you think basic salad, and for our basic salad, we're going to use a cucumber, and we're going to use baby tomatoes. I'm pretty positive that all of you can get these tomatoes. The kit that I bought from the store, and you're going to have to look, this is a good thing that you could also grow. We have yellow, green, and red. And for these, we're just taking our cherry tomatoes and we're cutting them in half. And those are going to be used in your salad. The thing that I want you to think about, and the thing that I want you to consider, if you order from a purveyor and you get your tomatoes, when you get your tomatoes, they're not necessarily ripe. So you want to leave them out, because as soon as you refrigerate them, it stops the ripening process. So we left these out for 2 days. That will bring in flavor and nutrients. So always make sure, this is the same thing that we want to do with fruit, that you let things ripen for maximum flavor and maximum nutrients. Here is our cucumber that we're getting. And my rule of thumb, again, this is something that many of you could grow in your garden, is that you want to keep in mind, if you're not using an organic cucumber, we want to take the skin off. And we want to take the skin off for 2 reasons. One, that's where the pesticides are going to be. But number 2, sometimes the skin is bitter. So if I'm buying cucumbers from the farmer's market and we don't have any yet, we're a little bit early in the season for this year, I leave the skin on. But if I'm buying commercial cucumber, and some of the cucumbers even have wax on them, we're going to just take our peeler, again, 2 kinds of peeler, this one or this one. I prefer this one, but you can use any one you want. Walter prefers this one as well. And you're going to just peel the skin off the cucumber, okay? And then you end up with a peeled cucumber. We're going to take those skins. If you have animals, they would love this. Chickens love this. Sheep love this. Goats, pigs, any animals. But you can also compost. So the skin can go in the compost. And then we want to think about who is our end result, who's going to be eating this, and is this too big a piece? If it is, you're going to cut it in half and just cut half moons or full slices for your salad. So my basic salad always has cucumbers, always has tomatoes, and always has sprouts. This makes for a very nutritious salad that has some crunch, it has some texture, it has nice flavor, and you're giving nutrients. Don't forget, raw foods and any kind of plant has lots of fiber, lots of water, so it's very nourishing, and also that fiber is important because that's how we keep regular and we keep things flowing through the body. So very, very important. We've done our cucumber. So another thing to think about, and we're going to be doing 2 more salads that have fruit and nuts. Let's focus just on vegetables for this salad. So we have cucumber, we have tomato, we have our lettuce, but I also want to talk about another vegetable. And while this vegetable is actually, its origins go back to the old world, it's very inexpensive to get and very, very, very nutritious. This is a beet, and you can buy these at your farmer's market. I've rinsed off the root, and I just want to talk because beets, excellent for any blood, but you can use all the parts. So here we have a root, and for that root, what I like to do, and you could also do this with carrots, carrots could go in your basic salad, is to just take a grater and grate the raw beet, and it's going to add beautiful color. It's going to add a lot of good nutrients. Now remember, beets are red, they go into the body, and very good for the blood and for the heart. And so you could use that in addition to your other ingredients for your basic salad. But what you can also do is you can eat the greens. And so the greens can be cut. You can eat everything from the stem, although I don't like too many of the stems. These I put in my compost, or I love to saute these. But all of these greens can go into our salad. And so bang for your buck, so to say. Beets add nutrients, they add flavor, they add color, and you can get a lot for your money if you can get those beet greens. Beets are seasonal. They should be available in all of your purveyors, but it's also something that you could grow and in your garden. And I'm hoping that all of you are going to at least try those microgreens, because those are really easy to do. Everybody has in their kitchen a to-go cup, little bit of soil, seeds, and you can grow little pots of, and this might be a project that you get your clients to do, your participants, and put them on the windowsill of your kitchen or senior center or facility, so that they can participate in this great process of health and wellness. So here we have beets, that's an option, and these greens, very, very, very healthy. They can also be sauteed. These could be added to a soup or a stew, so lots of uses here for the salad greens. So our recipe today is going to have some salad greens. Here we have a mixture of salad greens, and that we're going to add our tomatoes. We're going to add our cucumbers, and then we're going to add, since I grated the beet, why don't we go ahead and add a little bit of that beet, and then we're going to add all of our microgreens into that salad, and then we're just going to toss the salad so that everything, look at that beautiful color. Again, amaranth, one of my favorite. I love the sunflower sprouts, and I really love the radish sprouts, but broccoli is good, cabbage is good, lots of options for your healthy salad. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a salad reduced sugar raspberry preserve. We're going to be using a Dijon mustard, and we're going to be using a smooth. So once everything is mixed together, we've got cucumbers and tomatoes. You could do carrots. We have beets in ours. We have all those delicious microgreens. The next thing we're going to do is make a salad dressing. This salad dressing is so easy to make, and everyone that we make it for loves it. It's got 3 ingredients and then salt and pepper. We're using a organic reduced sugar. Key here is reduced sugar. Jam or preserve. This actually says organic reduced sugar raspberry preserve. We're using a Dijon mustard. Dijon mustard comes in both smooth and in rough. So we're going to use the rough one for a different salad dressing. For today's salad dressing, we want to make sure we're using the smooth. And then balsamic vinegar, which most people have in their kitchens. Balsamic vinegar is a reduction, and it comes in a very dark liquid, and we're going to add that to the bowl. And then what we're going to do is just use our whisk and mix that together. And then we're going to add just water. Now, if I added oil, we're adding a little bit of fat, which we don't need. And the water makes it actually taste much better and is very healthy, right? So if you don't have enough water and you want that dressing, this dressing's still a little bit thick, so I'm going to add a tiny bit more water. You can make it to any consistency that you want, but I like to make my salad dressing so that it coats a spoon, so to say. A lot of us chefs do that, and the way you tell that is you just take a spoon, and you want to make sure that you can take your finger. There's a perfect, see that? Perfect consistency for our salad dressing. So once you have your salad dressing, you're going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. A lot of recipes will say to taste, and basically what that means is how do you like it? I put down about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we have our salad dressing. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our salad dressing. We're going to just pour that on top of our salad. I always, Walter and I really like plating. So what we like to do is to take our salad and toss it. You could use tongs if you want, or you can use your hands, but just make sure that you have gloves on for this part. And then what we're going to do is, oh, that salad. And you can actually smell that raspberry jam. It's just amazing. It's going to taste so good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a plate and just get fresh gloves here for plating. And we're going to serve that. You can serve it buffet style and let people take their own. The one thing you want to remember is as soon as you dress that salad, the salad will start to break down and it will wilt. So you have to put your dressing on unless you serve the dressing on the side. Serve the salad fairly immediately after you dress it because it will start to break down. So what we're going to do is just take some of our greens and some of our tomatoes. We've got sprouts in there, our cucumbers, and if you're using beets, those cucumbers are going to start to turn purple, and that's perfectly fine, guys. Don't worry about that because it really is just about the flavor. And we're going to take some of our tomatoes, some of our cucumber, and whatever your portion size is, unless you're doing a buffet. There we have a nice amount. And what I like to do is just take a tiny bit if I'm plating, okay? And we can plate on anything from a paper plate to a plate, as I like to take a little bit of that dressing and make that really pretty. And then I'm going to just take a little bit of the fresh sprouts and make a garnish. So we're going to just take our sprout and we're going to put that on top. And then my favorite, which is the amaranth, I'm going to cut a little bit more of that and put a little bit. And look, we have a beautiful salad that is easy to make. It has a delicious salad dressing, and going to feed our relatives using some great ingredients that are nutritious, delicious, and very, very healthy. So basic salad is always greens. We have our basic salad dressing, cucumbers and tomatoes, which you can get, and then think about other ingredients which you could add to your own salad that's seasonal or that you have access to. Don't be afraid to experiment. I'm going to encourage all of you to try and grow at least one container or jar of sprouts. This is very, very, very healthy, and we bring in those ancestral foods and life-giving foods to a basic salad. So we're going to get ready now and get ready to do the next two salads and show you how to make those.
Record.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the arugula salad with an herb dressing. I'm going to show you how to use fresh herbs and fresh lemon with a little mustard and water and garlic to make a delicious, very healthy salad dressing. And in this salad, we're going to use New Mexico pecans. Pecans, of course, not only an indigenous nut, but the word pecan is actually an Algonquin word, meaning it was a nut that the crows could break. And it was the crows that helped those nuts migrate westward. And now, I don't know how many of you know this, the pecan is the #1 nut crop here in the state of New Mexico with revenues in the billions of dollars. So it's very, very important to our state, and it is an indigenous Native American nut that migrated westward. We're also going to be using berries. Berries, of course, all native. We have raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries. And oddly enough, even though we're moving into the summer months, I couldn't find blueberries, at least not fresh blueberries at the store that I went to. So that's perfect because I want you all to think, well, if I can't get something that's on the recipe, what can I do? And so we went and got just frozen blueberries in a bag, and those are what we're going to be using for the salad today. So don't be afraid to use frozen blueberries or frozen blackberries or frozen raspberries. Just let those thaw. They're still going to taste good in that salad. They're still going to add all of those antioxidants, again, which are very important for the population that we're cooking for this salad. So step one for this is we're going to take our pecans, and these are New Mexico pecans, and we're going to toast them. So how am I going to toast them? This can be done in advance, and you can do a whole tray. You can toast in the oven. I'm going to show you how to toast on a cast iron pan very quickly for just what I'm using for today. So I have a cast iron pan that's heating up. I'm going to take my nuts and I am going to just toss those gently in the pan. So what you want to do is you want to bring out the oil and the flavor of the nuts. That's the reason we're toasting in that cast iron. And then what we're going to do once those nuts are toasted, we're going to chop them. So what we're doing by toasting, and you can see we're getting a little bit of brown. That pan is nice and hot. Remember, your pan is dry. You don't need oil. You're just toasting. You could toast in a toaster oven or you can toast in your oven. I like doing it on the stovetop. Is we're bringing out the oil and we're bringing out the flavor. Nuts do have fat. This is a good fat. This is called an unsaturated. This is a plant-based fat, okay? So once the nuts have toasted, we're going to go ahead and pour them onto our cutting board. And then all you're going to do is chop them. And again, let's think about nuts. Who are our clients? Are there any nut allergies? So maybe what you want to do is serve these nuts on the side and let your clients, your seniors at your center put on what they would like. Just remember that the nuts are really good. And especially when they're toasted, they have that smell, that toasted aroma. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that there's enough, because whoever first in line or first getting the food might take more than if you're actually plating. So you just want to chop those nuts after they're toasted. You can do a fine chop if you would like. Walter and I like a little bit of texture, so we're basically trying to get those nuts into thirds, okay? So this is something that you could certainly serve on the side, or you can chop them very finely. Again, who's eating and what are their needs, and how can you accommodate those needs for the clients that you're cooking for. But pecans, native, very healthy and amazing. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a herb lemon dressing. We're using fresh lemons, so we're getting lots of vitamin C from our fresh lemon juice. We're also using fresh chopped garlic. So we're going to take garlic, and we're going to take herbs. Now, what herbs do we have, and what herbs are available? Basil, we're going to use some basil. This is what we were able to get. We're going to use some dill, which we chop. So once you've added the garlic, we're going to add fresh herbs and use what's available to you, okay? I was able to get basil. I'm also going to be using flat leaf parsley, chives. You could use green onions if you couldn't get chives. We have a little bit of dill, which we're going to be using. You could use lovage. Lovage is actually like the leaves from celery. So if you're using celery and something else, everybody throws away the leaves. Chop those leaves up and put that in your salad dressing. So flat leaf parsley, something everybody can get. That's going to make this herb really nice. Basil, if you have access, or you can get that. Dill, also another very easy, and then chives. And if you can't get chives, use green onion. Those are readily available, and that's something that everybody, pretty much everybody has in their kitchen. And then, so chives, basil, flat leaf parsley. You could use curly parsley. Tarragon is another great one. These are all herbs that you can grow as well. And so don't be afraid to use what you have, and all those herbs will be listed on the recipe. We're going to be using freshly squeezed lemon juice, very important because that adds lots of vitamin C, and that's a big part of the delicious flavor. And then for this, we're using a Dijon mustard, but this is not smooth. This Dijon mustard has the seeds in it, and we're going to use, and you can take a look at what that is. So instead of being completely ground, this mustard has, it's ground a little bit, but it has a lot of those seeds in there. And so we're using what's called a coarse, some people call it whole grain Dijon mustard. You can also think of it as whole grain or mustard that's not ground. We're also going to be using a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mix that together. And we're going to have a very thick paste. And then the next thing that you would add to this is we're going to add just a little bit of oil. I'm going to be using a sunflower oil, so a native oil, to this salad dressing. And then we're going to be using some water, and that water will make our salad dressing into a nice consistency. And again, we have the lemon in there, we have our herbs, and always remember, if you're the chef, what you want to do is you want to taste. So clean spoon, let's give a little taste to our salad dressing. Lovely. Now, I love mustard, so I'm going to add a little bit more than what the recipe says. Chef Walter doesn't like mustard as much as I do, so for his salad dressing, he's just going to add a little bit less, okay? So let's get all of that in there. Lovely. That's a really nice dressing. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our arugula. And arugula is actually a little bit bitter. I kind of like that. It's a little bit spicy. Arugula, and arugula has a slightly different look to it. It almost looks like a dandelion green, actually. And so arugula you should be able to get commercially, or look at your farmer's market and work with the New Mexico Department of Health, because they will work with you and your community to help you find local procurements, who's growing what in your area, what are the locals farmers market. So everything from the microgreens to the lettuces and arugulas, what can you get, what farms, what native farms are growing, so they will work with you to get that. So the next thing we're going to add is fresh blueberries if we have them. We don't, so we're going to use some of our frozen, but we do have fresh blackberries, so let's go ahead and add fresh blackberries. And remember, you don't have to use all three. You can use any one. Since I have them, we're going to use some raspberries. And then just without the nuts, look at that beautiful salad. It's very fresh. We have our greens with our delicious fruit. The fruit's going to add sweetness. The salad dressing is going to be a little bit spicy. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that salad dressing onto my salad. Again, we're tossing. Make sure you have gloves on if you're tossing the salad before you serve it. And what we have is a beautiful salad with fresh berries in it. It's got great flavor, and those berries are going to add some sweetness. Again, we're going to just go ahead and show you how we would plate that. Now, I'm fairly confident that nuts are going to be okay, but you want to make sure you could always serve the nuts on the side. I'm going to go ahead and put the nuts on at the end so that you can see how we would do this. So we're going to take our dressed greens, and we're going to put those greens in the middle of our beautiful salad, and then we're going to take our fruit and let that come around the edges. So we have our fresh raspberry and some blueberries and blackberries. And then again, I always love my favorite thing to do is just take a little of that dressing. If I'm plating, if it's a buffet, not to worry about it. Take a little of that dressing and spoon that around the edge there. And then if we're going to be serving our pecans, we would take a couple of pecans and put those over the salad and make that nice. And then we have our first salad ready to go. So that is one delicious salad. And now we're going to move on to the next salad. And our next salad today is featuring apples and raisins. And we are going to be using Fuji apples. And Fuji apples, I think, have a really nice crunchiness to them and a really nice texture for the salad. So this is what we're going to be doing for the second salad. So for this second salad, again, I'm going to introduce a different salad dressing to all of you so that you have different dressings and think about what is your favorite, what are you going to do. So for this, we're going to be using apple and pine nuts. Again, pine nuts, very important, especially to many of our pueblos, because pine nuts give you lots of good calories. And in those calories, we have good unsaturated fat, once again. And then ingredients that I think all of you have access to. We're going to be using fresh lime. We're going to be using agave and some red chili to make an agave lime red chili salad dressing. So because we're using pine nuts, again, we're going to take our pan and we're going to toast, just like we did on the pecans, we're going to toast our pine nuts. So we're going to put them in a dry pan, and we want to let the pine nuts toast, just like we did on the last salad, the pecans, just using another indigenous nut. Maybe many of you go out and harvest your own pine nuts, and this is what we're using for this salad because of the nutrients. It's a native ingredient, very healthy, and I think the nuts are small enough, they have some good oil in there that you're going to be able to feed to your seniors, and that should be perfectly fine there. So here's our Fuji apples, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the apple. I'm going to show you how to cut this. I call this the 4 directions. So the 4 directions, just like we would in some of our native traditions, like we would on a medicine wheel, we're going to take our apple and cut 4 directions. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The core is going to go into our bag to feed our animals or our bag to compost. And then we're just going to cut some apple slices, not too thin, not too thick. This is a very nice crunchy apple, and I think you'll really like the flavor. So taking that apple and cutting little slices from the 4 directions, okay? All right, and let's do one more apple just so that all of you can see that. Here we go, getting our apple slices. And if you did not think that your clients or your seniors at your centers could eat an apple this big, you can go ahead and cut these into smaller pieces. So let's do that on the second apple. Ready? Let's put our nuts in there. So again, remember the 4 directions, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to get compost or fed to the animals. So if you think that's too big a slice, go ahead and cut that piece in half so that you end up with smaller pieces of apples. If this is still too big, go ahead and cut it into quarters, okay? So just make sure that you are making the size that works for your seniors and your clientele in your community, okay? So here's our apple. These are a little bit smaller. Again, you could go even smaller than that if you wanted or felt that you needed to. These Fuji apples are easy to get, easy to find, and you can get these throughout most of the year. So that is what we're using today. There we go. So the next thing that we're going to use is we're going to use raisins. And you could use dark raisins or you could use golden raisins. I'm actually a big fan of golden raisins, so let's use golden raisins for this salad today. And we're going to be using golden raisins for that. So again, what we're going to do is take our pine nuts, which we toasted. We're going to take our apples. We're going to take our raisins, golden or dark, whichever you have. Either are good, either are going to be delicious. That's the base of this salad. And we're going to be adding, again, our salad greens. And this is where you really want to focus on working with your procurement. What is available? What is local in your area? How do you get that? There are certainly resources to help you find what's available in your area and who is growing any of these lovely greens that we can feed to our seniors. Okay, so we have our salad composed. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our whisk and we're going to make another dressing. So this dressing is going to have agave, and we're using a light or what's called blue agave. All right, and with that, we're going to be adding some freshly squeezed lime juice, and the lime juice here I've already squeezed, so freshly squeezed lime, let's put that in. Just get the rest of this agave out. Okay, and then we're also going to be using some New Mexico red chili powder. And if you recall in a previous episode, red chili has lots of nutrients. So we're going to get some of that vitamin A and vitamin C. We're going to get all of those antioxidants, and we're going to get flavor. This is mild. So again, Chef Walter tends to be a little milder than me. I like a little spicy, but if you're working with seniors, they may want to go mild. So again, take into account what is available in your community and what do you need to use there. So we're going to add our red chili powder and then a little bit of salt and pepper. Again, salt and just a pinch, okay? Tiny pinch of black pepper, and then for this we're using a little bit of that Dijon. This is the smooth Dijon mustard into that salad dressing. And then all we're going to do, very easy, we're going to just mix together the fresh lime with the chili, the salt, the pepper, the agave. So we're going for a little bit of sweet and sour on this one. Okay. And then again, as in true chef fashion, take a clean spoon, give it a taste. It's perfect, you guys. You're gonna just love this. This is one of my most favorite. And if you couldn't do the herb, this dressing would also work very, very nicely on that arugula and blueberry salad as well. So what we're gonna do, same thing. We're gonna just toss all of our ingredients. We're going to take some of our salad dressing and pour that over our salad. We're going to give it a toss. Again, make sure you have gloves on because we're using raw salad. And oh, look at that. Beautiful. But remember, every time you toss your salad, the salad ingredients will wilt, and they'll wilt fairly quickly. So you want to make sure that you're going to serve this salad immediately after you toss it. So look how beautiful that is. Let's go ahead and get a plate. And make so we've got our baby salad greens. Again, we're going right in the middle. We have some wonderful apples you can see, our pine nuts. Look and see those great golden raisins nicely sprinkled on that salad. Make sure you have enough apples for everybody. Oh, that looks just delicious. Again, we're using lots of nutrients, some really good flavor. I really like, again, I'm going to just wipe that plate and then drizzle my salad dressing all the way around. So take a clean spoon, and we have just created another salad using another dressing with native ingredients. And you can take a little bit of that wonderful flavor, drizzle that around. There is your beautiful salad. And we have created a great salad, lots of nutrients. Again, if those nuts, if you're worried about the nuts, you can always leave those out and serve those on the side. So make sure you ask your clients, are there any nut allergies or anything that you need to keep into account on these salads. So our beautiful arugula and fresh fruit, our beautiful salad green with apple and raisins, wonderfully delicious, lots of nutrients, lots of flavors. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get ready for the next recipe and show you how to make a tri-color coleslaw with no mayonnaise. So again, lots of nutrients and flavor there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make a healthy tri-color coleslaw, and we're going to be using purple cabbage, green cabbage, carrots, and some kale, which I have to start over because the kale's not out. Walter. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a healthy tri-color coleslaw. This coleslaw has no mayonnaise, so it won't damage. This is perfect for a feast day, right? You could take this outside. It could be a side. It could go with tacos. It could be its own salad. Green cabbage. We're using purple cabbage. We're using some kale, green kale. I'm going to show you how to shred that. And then we're using some shredded carrots. I was able to get carrots already shredded, but I am going to show you if you cannot get the carrots already shredded, a simple, easy way to do that. You could use a food processor, but I will show you by hand just in case some of you do not have this available. So we're going to take a carrot. Again, we've peeled the carrot. The skin is bitter, and we're going to lose that using the top and the front and the back end. And then we're just going to take our grater here, and the same thing that we did with the beets in the other salad. We're just going to take our carrot and we're going to grate. And this is very easy to do, very quick. I know everybody has carrots in their kitchen. So this adds not only color, carrots have vitamin K, carrots are good for your eyes, carrots have lots of nutrients. And when they're shredded like this, they're really easy for our seniors to be able to eat. So take a look at that. So you can either buy them already shredded or you can go ahead and shred them using a grater, or if you have it, a food processor would work as well. The next thing I'm going to show you is you're going to take fresh cabbage. Again, you could also use a food processor or Cuisinart. Cabbage always has the center, right? So we have the hole. So what you want to do is you want to remove that center part. It's very fibrous and very hard. And then if you have a leaf that is very big, I also remove that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut my cabbage into workable sizes. And you want to take your knife and you want to shred as thinly as possible. Go ahead and cut this so we don't have pieces that are too big. And we want to just shred that cabbage as finely as you can, making tiny little shreds. And again, you could use a machine, but remember, as the cook or as the chef, it's always good to know how to do this. And it's important to know how to do this if we have no machines at all. So there's the purple cabbage. We're going to do the same thing with the green. Let's go ahead and remove that center part and then cut cabbage into a manageable piece, and then just shred nice and evenly, making small pieces for this coleslaw. Okay, so that's that. Let's put that into our cabbage. So we have green, we have the purple, we have the carrots. Now the kale, kale's going to either come with stems or it's going to come with the leaves. You're going to crush together these kale leaves, and kale, got lots of nutrients, lots of vitamins. We want to make it into tiny little shredded pieces, just like we did for our cabbage. And that makes it edible. We're adding some color and we're sneaking in these great nutrients. A lot of kale is used now in a lot of smoothies. So we're trying to sneak this little vegetable in anywhere we can. Again, you could get it fresh, but you could also buy the kale frozen. So don't be afraid to do that if you can't get it fresh. And then you just want to make sure that you've got nice, small, shredded pieces from those leaves. See how nice and small that is. So we're going to take our bowl and we're going to take our kale. We're going to take some cabbage. We're going to take the other cabbage. And again, the reason we're using different kinds of cabbages because the purple and the white have different nutrients, and we want to make sure that we're getting all of those nutrients and feeding this. Now, cabbage is sometimes a little hard to break down. So I'm going to show you the chef's secret. And this is something that you want to do before you serve. Look at that beautiful, beautiful color. This is a delicious coleslaw. And I think you guys are really going to love this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take some fresh lime. I remember in a previous episode, I showed you how to rub that lime. So you're getting all that juice ready, and we're going to just put the lime into our lime squeezer. And we want to squeeze a little lime right on top of our salad here. And what the lime is going to do is it's going to start to break down the cabbage and make it easier to digest and easier to eat. So I always do this first, and I have some already done, so I'm going to pour that over. And then what you want to do is just add a tiny bit of kosher salt, okay? And then what you want to do is toss that over the vegetables. Now this can sit anywhere from half an hour to an hour before we put the dressing on this salad. And what you want to do is get this to start to break down that cabbage, so that now if you don't have access to fresh lime, another really good ingredient for this is apple cider vinegar. We're going to use a little bit of the raw apple cider vinegar, tiny bit. That is going to act just like the lime. So either of these to break down, you can actually see it start to break down almost immediately. And what that does is make that start to break down so that it has a little softness to it, and it's a little bit easier to digest. I'm just going to add the remainder of the kale. And then, again, you're cutting nice, tiny pieces, and we're getting those dark green leafy vegetables into this coleslaw. I always think of, whenever I think of dark leafy green vegetables, I always think of Popeye and how healthy he was. And the reason he was so healthy was because he was always eating spinach. So again, those dark leafy greens, very, very important in the diet. This is going to make a lot of delicious coleslaw here. So we're letting this break down. And then if you want, you can just do a little taste, making sure that you have your salt ratio and apple cider vinegar and lime. That is good. I'm going to add a tiny bit more salt. And that's going to break that down while I make the salad dressing. Okay? So the other thing that we're going to do is, for this one, we're going to add pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds, also native. This is very important because they're very nutritious and have lots of nutrients. So, but again, if your plants cannot eat seeds or they have problems with seeds, just serve those on the side. And it's very easy to get pumpkin seeds that are already toasted. So I'm not going to show you how to toast those because we toasted both the pine nuts and the pecans in the other salad. So if we're making that same salad dressing, this is the raspberry jam and balsamic with the Dijon mustard vinaigrette. I'm going to show you how quick and how easy that is. Again, we're taking our no sugar to low sugar organic raspberry jam and a little balsamic vinegar. And then the only other thing we're going to add to this is our water. And easy, easy, easy to make. So here we have our raspberry jam, vinegar. And Walter tends to like his a little sweeter. So once you've tasted it, I'm going to add the water now. Go ahead, and if you want it sweeter, if your clientele, your seniors want it a little sweeter, go ahead and add a little bit more of that raspberry jam until you get the consistency that you want. Look at that, really easy to do, guys. Let's give it a little taste. Tiny bit of salt to our dressing, tiny bit of black pepper, always doing that to taste. And let's get a spoon here. Remember the consistency. Okay, spoon, take your finger. That looks like a nice consistency. And it's so good. In honor of Walter, I'm going to add a tiny bit more of our raspberry jam to this. So always, if you're adding more of the jam, you'll probably need a little more of the water. Just go ahead and mix that in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a plate. And I will show you, this salad I would not serve as its own individual salad, but you could. I would always serve it with something else. It would go great with maybe roasted meat, or this would go great with another one of your entrees. So what I'm going to do, because I'm not going to dress the whole salad right now, so I'm just going to take a little bit of salad that we're going to be using. I'm going to take a little bit of that dressing. We're going to pour that on top of our salad. We're going to mix that in. Use a spoon as well. And we have a really healthy, delicious coleslaw. The longer it sits, you can already see, look at how that cabbage has started to break down, making it soft, easier to eat and digest. It has beautiful color. It has our carrots, 2 kinds of cabbage, beautiful leafy greens. We're just going to give it a little bit of a taste. It's so good. And again, something the longer that apple cider vinegar sits on that cabbage, it's going to start to break down. And I'll show you how I would plate it. So what I would do is, again, just take a plate. If I were serving it as its own salad, I like this as a side, but it can certainly be served with a soup or a stew. But again, if you want to serve it as its own salad, which you could certainly do, we would take those, and then, as in true fashion, I love to take just a little bit of that salad dressing and drizzle around. Look at that, beautiful. And we have another salad that we made relatively quickly, lots of nutrients and lots of delicious ingredients. And so remember, if you're going to be serving your pine nuts, you don't want those to get soggy. So that's the last thing that we're going to add here. We're going to just take our toasted pumpkin seeds. Some people call them pepitas. That would be the Spanish word. For us natives, it's just the inside or the green part of the pumpkin. Many of you that grow pumpkins certainly do this. And what Walter and I like to do is just sprinkle those around. They remain crunchy. You add nutrients, a little bit of flavor there, and makes for a delicious salad or a side to any of your meat dishes. And there's no mayonnaise, so we're not in danger of it sitting out as its own salad. So we've done 4 salads today. Wow, it's been a pleasure being your chef. Very easy to do. Remember to enjoy the process. And if you can't get something, you're always available to substitute something else. So that is something to keep in mind. And if you were missing an ingredient, you could leave that out or you could add something else. So please join us in the future for another episode of Healthy Native American Recipes. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors, and I look forward to seeing you all for the next episode.
Thank you, Chef Frank and Chef Whitewater. The recipes and more may be found at the links below. We hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Thank you for joining us.